get the start of the season. We're a few games into it now. What are you looking forward to?
I don't know. I mean, it's sort of a bizarre year. So you got the Astros coming back, everything, but they've got injuries to Altuve and McCullough Jr. And then you look at the Braves. You're not quite sure what's going on with that team. I find it interesting. All the big spenders don't seem to make it to the World Series or barely make it to the American League or National League Championship game. Philadelphia, same sort of thing. They had a bit of bad luck too. So it's all been sort of this: who will survive and actually start the season? Who can come back and provide some help for their team somewhere in the middle of the season?
I'm looking at both coasts. There are two teams I'm paying attention for. On the West Coast, the Angels, you've had two of the best players of their generation. You've done nothing with them.
Terrible.
Do you put something around them and try and go for something? Or are you going to ship them both out of town, and what are you getting back?
Well, ship out, I think Ohtani is probably going to leave after this year if it's the same last 2 years.
Okay, so that's why they say if they're not in contention at the All-Star break, that Ohtani will get traded before he signs well.
Even if you are in contention with Ohtani, especially, like, he's a unicorn. He's like nothing we haven't seen since Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
Even if you're in contention, you might have to think about
I
giving
find myself
him up.
really hoping that team does well.
We've been hoping for the last 2 years that team does well.
But that's I just, I don't want to. I really don't want to see Ohtani hit the open market. I think make this competitive and do something with that roster.
Okay, but he's also playing in the second biggest market in America. It's not like he's in, Kansas City or Pittsburgh where you're rooting.
But we treat him like that.
The second thing I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Let's go to the East Coast. No, you're fine. I'm sorry. I want to make sure I get it in because I got to get my impression in. What's going to happen with the Yankees this season? Because it's do or die, right? Like, if you don't make it to a World Series, Aaron Boone is losing his job. Aaron Boone, who I've said for years, is not an actual manager who sits there and watches players go, do their thing. Oh, guys, can you believe this is happening? Right?
And the Yankees were negotiating with themselves with Aaron Judge. I think there was sort of this sort of push toward every impression is the same voice. It's the same.
It works best with Aaron Boone, though.
If people he hates the most.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
But technically, they're not the same, though, right?
No. There's little nuances that only the smartest comedy fans can pick up.
But for the Yankees, them negotiating, the Mets too, going into the well to get as many players as they're possible. They didn't make it out of the wild card. The Yankees got swept in the American League Championship Series. So it's kind of like, it's bizarre. Then you have Tampa Bay, who somehow every year with less money finds guys that extremely start well. Glass now I think is injured, so he'll be out for a while. But
yeah, I mean, you're right. The whole thing is weird. And it actually loops back to the first thing we were talking about, because the Dodgers, contenders. Yeah. The Yankees, contenders. The Mets, contenders. At least they think they are, spending the money that they are. In the two biggest markets in America, 3 out of the 4 teams are going for it. And you can make the argument the most talent, generational-wise, is on the team that's probably going to ship those guys out at the trade deadline.
And then you have San Diego, which, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with Soto, what's going to happen with the rest of that team. They put a lot of money in that team as well. The Dodgers.
That has to succeed.
For
the sake of the franchise, what they've done, that has to succeed.
Well, no, but you say it has to succeed. If it does succeed, it cannibalizes baseball even further. If you're a baseball fan, you actively root against the Padres and what they've done the last couple of years.
Yeah, but it's just adding to the pile. I mean, they're just one of many. I just think just because of what they did, they need to succeed. So you got three favorites. The odds on the Mets, the Yankees, the Astros are the same, and then it spreads out. Anyone you like as a value pick?
The value pick, I'd probably have to go with. I don't believe in the Dodgers. I want to believe in the Dodgers. The Dodgers, money-wise, they won in 2020, but they haven't been able to go there since then.
You got one?
Cleveland.
That's interesting.
Well, why are we laughing? Why are we laughing right now? The Dodgers aren't even really a value pick, right? That's not coming out of nowhere. I mean, that division is winnable. They took steps forward last year that nobody thought they were going to be able to take. That is a baseball town that is back supporting that team again. That matters in small markets when it comes to success and not success. I keep it. Look, if we're talking value, I like Cleveland.
And I like the Phillies. And although they were in the World Series last year,
but they were
7th.
That's not value.
I'm stacking the Vegas odds. The Phillies are 7th. And the Dodgers are value picking that they're 4th. They've always been number 1. They're 4th.
You guys are top 8 picking value? You're the worst gamblers ever.
We'll see where Cleveland is at the end of the year. We have to have a darling team, though. There's going to be a darling team for each quarter of baseball.
The Orioles.
And, of course, probably to start off. And then, of course, they will tank after that. And then they will have another darling team in the middle of the year and then have a darling team at the end.